Hello there, and welcome to episode 1 of the Virginia Roundup. I'm Declan Traynor, and I'm delighted to be here for the first of what I hope will be many podcasts in the months and the years ahead. Our slogan is the Virginia Roundup for and about Virginia, and that is the purpose of this podcast. We hope to highlight and promote community organisations, charity organisations and sports clubs, etc. in and around the Virginia area and surrounding areas. We'll also have a notice board of upcoming community events, fundraisers, etc. We'll have some interesting guests. We also have some regular contributors to the podcast starting in the coming months. We'll be expanding the podcast and adding more content to it as well. And also some debates from time to time. Nothing too controversial, just things that concern our town, like traffic, littering, and maybe even if we're brave enough, we might discuss that famous roundabout at some stage. Anyway, if you would like to contact us, we would love to get your feedback on this podcast and what you want to hear, because it's for and about you as well. Our email address is thevirginiaroundup@gmail.com, or you can send us a private message on Facebook, facebook.com/the Virginia Roundup. Now, have you ever thought about returning to education, or are you considering a career change but you don't know how to go about it? Well, our first guest may be able to help you with that. CMETB, the Cavan and Monaghan Education and Training Board, provides a comprehensive range of education and training services throughout counties Cavan and Monaghan, including the Virginia area. Recently, I went to their office in Ballyjamestuff where I met Martin McGovern, who is an adult guidance counsellor for CMETB, and I started by asking him who are CMETB and what services do they provide.
CMETB, Cavan Monaghan Education and Training Board. There's a couple of strands to it. You've got the area of schools, secondary schools, 11 secondary schools across Cavan Monaghan, and CMETB, so not every school, a secondary school, is an ETB school. So, for example, Virginia College, King's Court, Breffni College in Cavan, Belturbet are ETB schools. So that's one section, and then I work for the second section, which is FET, Further Education and Training. So that would be like, under that umbrella would come the two institutes, training services, so your apprenticeships, traineeships, and then you've got ourselves in adult education. So we would deal primarily with people in the community who want to maybe do part-time courses, or people who want to come and, like myself, who's a guidance counsellor, we're available to everyone and anyone over the age of 16 that's not in full-time education, and they can access free and confidential service. There's 3 of us across Cavan Monaghan that are adult guidance counsellors. So if you think of your guidance counsellor when you're in school, we're basically a guidance counsellor for the community.
Yeah. And what, for adults considering maybe a career change or doing further education, what would be the common challenges that you'd see and how to help them to navigate those challenges?
Yeah, well, look, the first thing for a lot of people is family generally is a big part of it. But I suppose the biggest barrier I would see is confidence. And fear, I suppose, entwined with the lack of confidence. It's been years maybe since we're in school. A lot of adults maybe remember school as a tough place and maybe didn't have an enjoyable experience, and there's the fear of, I couldn't do that. I can't. The thought of even going into a classroom setting. So when myself, Siobhan in Cavan Town, or Etna in Monaghan Town, like, our first job is to, I suppose, relax the person and say, listen, it's not how you remember. If you do want to retrain or try something, or go, it's like the class adult ed part-time courses, it's 3 hours once a week. There's levels 2, 3, 4, 5 excuse me, and we would find the level for you and where you're at and where you're comfortable. And it's a tutor with 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, generally no more than 12 or 13 in a class. Very relaxed. It's almost a social setting.
Yeah, it's intimate.
Very. And there's a break and a cup of tea, and everyone's on first name basis. It couldn't be further from what the classroom was like.
Yeah, that we remember back in the
exactly.
Back in the day,
and I suppose that fear is trying to get people over that. And someone comes in and they might say, I'd love to. Maybe someone's worked in healthcare, for example, and say, I'd love to work in an office. I'd love to do business administration. That's a level 5, but I'm not great on computers. Well, what we would generally say to that, right, let's do a level 3 part-time introductory course and see how you get on.
Yeah.
And they'll only last, like any one of our classes in part-time ed will only last 12, 13, 14 weeks, once a week, 3 hours. It's
Yeah.
very manageable. And then I suppose the higher up the levels go, 4 or 5, they'll get that little bit, there'll be assignments added then at level 5, and you'll need to have more IT skills, maybe more so than the level 3s, 4s. Yeah.
So I suppose you're helping people to identify their strengths and their interests and maybe potential career paths.
Yeah, and a lot of that is in the conversation. So like I always say, if anyone's considering, should I, could I, would I would say to them, just come in and have a chat. Sometimes, like as I said to you before we recorded, like some of the best people who leave me and go, thanks a million, I never actually opened my mouth. They had it was in their head and they just wanted to talk to a stranger, and that's sometimes easier.
You just need a sounding board.
I would often call myself that, like, and I know the girls would say the same. We're a lot of the time we're just a soundboard for people who have an idea in their head. So I suppose to give you an example of adult ed and how it works. So adult ed is very community based. So we're in this centre here in Ballygym stuff. Then we have Cavan Town, where I suppose the bulk of our classes go. But then you'll have outreach like Mulla, Ballyburra, Kings Court, Virginia sometimes, Balturbet, Ballyconnell. There'll be classes on there in the evenings. Not a massive arrange of them, but there'll definitely be classes to try and facilitate different people in the community that maybe can't travel or whatever.
Yeah.
And to give you an example, like if someone wanted to do, let's say, healthcare, they wanted to be a healthcare assistant, they would, and if they went into Cavan Institute and went in September, they would do 8 modules, at least 8 modules throughout the year, and they come out the following May with a full level 5 healthcare award, and they'd cover these 8 modules. But for a lot of people with family, maybe work commitments and stuff, they can't commit to a 1-year full-time course, so they might come to us and they do 1 module at a time. So you will still get the exact same qualification, but it might take you 2-3 years, say.
And I suppose that would be ideal for people who maybe, I'd say, have families, or maybe people who are already in employment but are just thinking of a career path change.
Exactly. And that, so a lot of them level 5 courses might be on the evening to facilitate people who's working. And what will happen, like here in Ballygym stuff, you might have 1 module this term or 2 modules this term, and next term 2 different modules. So, kind of, if you think of it, does a rotation so that you have the opportunity to hit every module over a 2 or 3 year period.
Yeah.
And the timetable comes out 3 times a year. So the timetable has come out now for September start. We're in July, and it comes out for September start. The next timetable for January start comes out in November, and then the Easter one comes out in about February, March. So. And
you'd also offer advice on CV preparation, interview skills, and basically searching for jobs, do you?
Yeah, well now, maybe not so much searching for jobs.
Search strategies maybe.
Yes, yeah, and show people, I suppose, how to, or even help them upload their CVs and stuff, and Indeed and things like that. But a lot of what we do maybe is interview prep and helping people put a CV together. So someone might contact, now we've 2 information officers, one in Cavan Shauna and another one in Monaghan Alana, and they would do a lot of that. So ring up and say, look, I need to get a CV put together. And you come in, it could be myself or it could be one of the information officers, and we'd sit down and we'd help them piece together a CV.
And have interviews changed over the years? I mean, I remember back in the day doing interviews, it was basically just going through your CV and taking over. Now, would there be a lot of things around competencies and things?
Well, that's the idea, that a lot of interviews are competency based. So you're answering questions based on what you've done in the past and how you would tackle a scenario. So they're scenario based a lot of the time. But in saying that, a lot of them are still old school too. There's still an element. Look, there's your CV, and can you tell me this? What's your strengths, weaknesses? These horrible questions that we all hate to get. But
and I suppose a lot of people will be hitting the competencies without even realising it anyway.
This is it. And you see, when people hear, it's competency based, I can't do that. But when you sit down with them and talk for half an hour, they go, sure, I've done that, and you're like, of course you have. You don't need, sometimes we focus so much on like, it's competency based, and they get terrified of that.
It's wood for the trees kind of thing.
That's it,
And it could be even something that you do outside of work in a voluntary organisation or a sports club or something like that you're hitting those competencies. It's just... And
people have, like, look, you can't go through life without picking up skills all along the way. And I would meet people like in their 50s and they'd say to me, there's no point in me now and I'm going for jobs. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're of more value probably now than the 20, no disrespect to the 20-year-old, but you've got so much more life experience, more skill set, transferable skills that, like, employers are smart.
Yeah.
Like, they know the value of someone that has experience. So, a lot of time it is that conversation saying, yes, you have value. Yes, you're well capable for this.
Yeah. And I suppose, and again, no disrespect to younger people, but I suppose older people maybe retraining, they've been through the workforce, and they're probably maybe a little bit more reliable or more.
Yeah, there's probably a more settled, maybe for want of a better word, and they're more focused at times. Now that's not. Look, I worked in schools as a guidance counsellor, and there's some fairly focused students. But like even in this job I'm in now as an adult guidance counsellor, like when you talk to an adult and you say, well, you know, if you want to do this, you have to do this, this, and this, and they might meet you in 3 or 4 weeks' time to go, I did this, this, and this. Where when I was working in school, and you met a 17-year-old and he says, you know, if you want to apply for that college, you have to fill out this. Oh yeah, you meet them 2 or 3 weeks later. Oh yeah, I must do that. You know, adults, I suppose, at time can be more focused and determined because they haven't time to mess around. It's you know, I want to do this and I need to do this. Yeah. And a lot of the time, people come in to do courses maybe later in life. They're doing it for themselves as opposed to what it's going to bring. Yeah. It's a kind of a self-achievement that I can do this, I'm fit to do this. And then of course there's people who need work and they have to retrain for work. But like I would have a lady there last year who went off to university to do a degree at 58, but that was for her. And she goes, if I work in this, in criminology, if I work in it, I work in it. If I don't,
you've still achieved
I've my
something.
degree.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And I'm just thinking of another lady like Helen, who came on and told her story with us before, but you know, she was in her 50s, and I would meet a lot of mothers who have reared a family, have been the mammy at home, and that's their world, and their confidence is on the floor. They're great in the house and controlling that, but outside of that, they're like, I'm not fit for this, I'm not fit for that. And Helen tells a story about like in her early 50s, the last child is headed off to college, and she's sitting at home going, what am I going to talk to the husband about? What do I do now? And she went off, done a course in Monaghan Institute, didn't like it, done another one, and then she done another, and then she ends up doing a university degree, which she swore she'd never do, and then she ends up doing a postgrad, which she swore she'd never do. And she actually works in Monaghan Museum now, and she does tutoring with DTB as well.
Yeah, so it could be the beginning of the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I've yet to meet someone who's went back and done retrained in something and regretted it. Like whether they get work in it or whether they do it just for their own self-fulfillment. Yeah.
And what about adult literacy? What kind of supports do you provide in relation to reading, writing and numeracy? Yeah,
so we've Cavan Fergus is the lady who runs the All Adult Literacy for Life. So there's a funding there for people who maybe who would struggle with, and like you'd be shocked. They reckon over 40%, I think it's about 30-40% of adults over the age of 50 have a literacy need. Now that can come under the umbrella of reading, writing, or a lot of the time it can be technology. And so I suppose when it's identified that someone has a need, there's supports in play for that. So whether that be one-to-one to get the person up to the level so that it can enter a classroom, or whether they need technology to help them. Because a lot of adults maybe had an undiagnosed, we say, dyslexia or dyspraxia. We're much more now, we're much better at seeing that and identifying it early. But a lot of the time, if you go back 30, 40 years ago, it wasn't picked up. So people would have left school thinking, oh sure, I'm not fit, I'm stupid for want of a better word, I'm not fit for this. When in actual fact all they needed was the technology or the supports, the one-to-one, just to get them up to a level. So there's a very good ambassador for literacy, Michael Duffy from Kilshannon. At the age of 56 he learned to read and write for the first time, and he tells his story very well. But there's a funding there for anyone who struggles with, I suppose you have to make yourself known. The supports are there, you just have to reach out. And what I would say to anyone listening, like if you're thinking about it all, come and meet one of us in the guidance. Like, that's our job. Sit down, have a chat. There'll be, as I say, it's confidential,
and there's no embarrassment, no shame,
we meet everyone. Like I would do CVs for people, and some like people maybe come from Syria and that, and having a word of English, and they're fantastic because they're sitting with their phone dictating dictating. It's amazing how people can overcome barriers all the time. So
and for people maybe you're talking about people coming in for a chat, for people maybe who are working full time, is there the opportunities maybe to come in for flexible appointments? Or
it will make it happen. If it can't, if someone's working 9 to 5 and they can't, we can facilitate that. It could be a Zoom call in the evening, or it could be we can make an appointment in the evening that suits. It doesn't happen very often, but we're willing to do it. Absolutely, of course. Yeah.
And what advice would you give to someone who feels that they're stuck in their career or maybe wants to further their education, or at least how could they get started with CMETB?
Yeah, if someone is there and they're like, yeah, I'm fed up, I want to change, I would definitely encourage them to come in and have a chat with either myself, Siobhan or Etna. Have that initial conversation. Sometimes that might be it. It mightn't go any further. They might just have to I might never see that person again, or I could see that person 4 or 5 times over the next few years. And I'm not saying sometimes it's not always education. Sometimes it's just the confidence to go and try do an interview or to try apply for a different job. And looking at, have I the skill set? And 9 times out of 10, you do have the skill set.
It's just identifying it.
Identifying and seeing what's transferable and what's not. So my advice to anyone is, reach out, come in and have a chat. If you go on to CMETB Adult Guidance or Adult Guidance at CMETB, if you just Google CMETB Adult Guidance, you'll find us, our numbers.
So they can reach out to you directly?
Yeah. And if they ring the service, they'll get through to either Shauna or Alana in Monaghan. Yeah, so like, for example, now the numbers for Monaghan 047 30800, the number for Cavan 049 437 7001, and then you'll also, if you go on the website, you'll find our individual numbers under Ballygym stuff, Carrickmacross, Cavan or Monaghan.
So if you, as say, Google CMETB, you'll find
adult guidance, yeah, definitely. And even the adult guidance, the adult education timetable, like you'd be surprised, like we have introductory level 2 courses, smartphones.
Yeah.
And even at the moment that Literacy for Life, Lady Cavan is organised over the summer Bites and Brew, and I just visited a class there this morning. It's literally a group of people sitting down how to work an iPhone, and then have a cup of tea, so Bites and Brew, and have a cup of tea and a chat, and it's the most basic, how do I turn this on, how do I use WhatsApp? And then you will be right up to level 5 where people might be doing something like healthcare, computer course, or a business module that's quite specific. Maybe it's payroll, bookkeeping or whatever. Yeah. And then you have hobby courses.
You mentioned that to me, yeah.
Flower arranging, embroidery, crafts, and they're dotted all around the country. Cooking, healthy eating, sustainable living, climate controls, everything and anything.
And they're also courses that give great sense of satisfaction having them.
Absolutely, and they're all free.
Yeah.
And you can be working or unemployed, it doesn't matter. And
if somebody wants to drop into you and meet you in person, where are you located in Ballygym stuff?
So I'm behind the church, St. Joseph's, just beside the museum, you'll see adult education building. And then in Carrickmacross, we're in the workhouse. And then in Cavan Town, we're actually moving to St. Augustine's right beside the cathedral. You'll find it there. And in Monaghan, it's in Dunmore, for anyone who's going that far afield. It's just outside. It's in Monaghan Town, Dunmore. It's on the Cavan Road. There's also outreach. So I often be in Virginia Library, Baileyborough Library and Mulla Heritage Centre. I often do outreach there. And then I know Shauna and Siobhan would often do Crathill, Belturbet, Ballyconnell. And if someone wants to meet and they can't travel, we would go out and meet them as well.
And the main centres would be kind of normal office hours usually? Yeah,
9 to 5. So the one here in Ballygym stuff, the 4 main offices are Monaghan Town, Cavan Town, Ballygym stuff and Carrickmacross,
Okay, Martin McGovern, Adult Guidance Counsellor with CMETB, thanks very much for joining us on the Virginia Roundup.
Thank you.
And many thanks to Martin for taking time to talk to us here on the Virginia Roundup. And as Martin mentioned in the interview there, if you do a search online for CMETB, you'll get contact details for their offices across Cavan and Monaghan. Okay, it's time now to see what's happening in Virginia on our Community Noticeboard. And the Virginia Men's Shed, along with the Cavan branch of the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, are holding a sponsored beard shave on Friday the 29th of August at 9 p.m. in the Whistle Stop on Main Street, Virginia. Your opportunity to support 2 great causes, help raise funds for Virginia Men's Shed and the Cavan branch of the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, and also raise awareness for Alzheimer's support and research. Come along and cheer on the participants as they shave their beards to show solidarity and raise money and watch the transformation. You can help by donating on the night or sign and donate on sponsorship cards. Also, you can sponsor a participant, do spread the word, and together we can make a difference. For more information, contact PJ Burns on 087 194 7634. Quintessence Theatre presents an original new comedy drama called The Bride, the Bold and the Beautiful, which explores the love, life and struggles of the Irish LGBTQ+ community. Performing on Friday the 5th of September at 8 p.m. at the Rammer Theatre. And also at the Rammer Theatre on Saturday 6th September at 8 o'clock, Breen Ryan Murray presenting an odyssey of wonder, joyfulness and upbeat music as these three incredibly talented and creative folk musicians shape melodies from past and present into something dynamic and irresistible. That's at 8 p.m. After the phenomenal success of the Knockbride Variety Show 2025, which raised an incredible €12,000 for charity across 4 unforgettable nights in Tullyduff Hall in March, the Knockbride Variety Group are back to the Rammer Arts Centre for a second year. It's another exciting production packed with outstanding music, hilarious comedy and boot-stomping line dancing under the expert direction of Terry Brady and the musical guidance of Thomas Hanley. Get ready for an unforgettable night of entertainment delivered by an exceptionally gifted cast. That's on Thursday the 11th and Friday the 12th September at 8 p.m. Virginia Library is home to the first e-audio book club in Cavan. An e-audio book is a book that's read to you by a narrator on your mobile phone or tablet via the Borrow Box app, which is free with library membership. If you'd like to join the club, contact the library or come along to the next meeting on Thursday, the 31st of July at 11 a.m. Also, Teeny Tummy Time for babies and their parents or guardians continues every fortnight during the months of July and August. This is a chance for adults to chat while the babies get acquainted with each other, and the next Teeny Tummy Time is on Tuesday, 29th of July between 10:15 and 11:15 a.m. Also, every Friday there is Lego Free Play from 3:30 to 4:30 in the Junior Library. And you can get more information on cavanlibrary.ie or facebook.com/Cavan Library or by calling 049 854 8456. And if you have any community or charity notices that you would like included on the Community Noticeboard here on the Virginia Roundup, you can email the details along with your contact information to thevirginiaroundup@gmail.com. And that is the Virginia Roundup for this month. My thanks to Martin McGovern from CMETB for talking to us on this month's podcast, and also to everyone who supplied information. If you'd like to make contact with us, our email address is thevirginiaroundup@gmail.com, or you'll also find us on facebook.com/The Virginia Roundup. So please do like and share our Facebook page. And we do ask you to please spread the word about the Virginia Roundup with your family and friends. So until the 15th of August, this is Declan Traynor saying thank you for listening, and we'll talk again soon.